I said before, the score here at halftime, the Edmonton Eskimos leading the Montreal Alouettes 14-3. Let's go back now and take a look at some of the highlights of the first half of today's game with Pat Marsden, Mike Wadsworth, and Frank Rigney.
Mike, I was certainly impressed the way the Edmonton Eskimos came out offensively against the Montreal Alouettes. I don't think either one of us thought they could move the ball that easily.
And I also didn't think they were going to shut down the Alouettes as effectively as they did, Frank. The Alouettes in that first half of play only had about 60 yards, but we always expected Kepley and Dave Pinnell would be very prominent, but I'll tell you one man that has really surprised us is number 28, Greg Butler. He does a tremendous job on this play with his containment and penetration, knocking off the interference, and also David Green for a big turnover early in the first quarter when they already had a 3-0 lead.
And that really led to one of the most interesting plays I've seen in years in the Grey Cup. Tom Wilkinson takes his pass from Bob Howes on a fake field goal attempt by Dave Cutler, and you see Tommy Scott. This was a 3rd down and 1.5 situation, and Scott moved the ball inside the 10-yard line for a 1st down.
The way they've been moving the ball and the defense have been containing Alouettes, it really wasn't that much of a gamble, and eventually paid off with his 4-yard run over the right side by Jim Germany. And at that point, Frank, I thought that the Edmonton Eskimos might just dominate this whole game.
Well, at that point in time, the Alouettes really hadn't seen any offense at all, but finally Joe Barnes found Bob Gaddis open deep, and you'll see Joe Holloman, number 29, slip on this play, and Gaddis is so far open, as Pat Marsden said during the telecast, had that ball been thrown a little deeper, Gaddis might well have scored. But, Mike, there was another fella defensively for the Edmonton Eskimos that you talked a lot about and did a great job.
That's number 64, David Boone. What a job he's done against both Kahl-Winter and Bonnet. On this occasion, he's working against Pat Bonnet, and he gets in to stop Joe Barnes, and as a result, the Alouettes come out of that with only 3 points. Then the Edmonton Eskimos, late in that second quarter, had to punt. Randy Rhino, we know what a weapon he's been for the Alouettes throughout this season, but at this point, Frank, it looked like it was going to be really disaster for them.
Well, I think this ball game has certainly been tough to predict right all week long and so forth and so on, and I think it's just as tough to pick right now. Of course, the Alouettes trail the Edmonton Eskimos by a score of 14-3, and Grey Cup 78 will continue in just a moment.
As we prepare for the second half of today's Grey Cup game, it's my pleasure to introduce my colleagues for the play-by-play and color commentary of the 3rd and 4th quarters. Broadcasting his 11th Grey Cup game is John Chevrier. Color commentary, a Grey Cup winning quarterback himself, Russ Jackson.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. And Russ, the Eskimos dominating in the first half, I think may feel that they would like to have had more points than they scored with the advantage they enjoyed.
Don, I certainly think that coming out of the dressing room, they would like to be up about 21-3 rather than 14-3, but that Montreal defense didn't bend when they got in close to the goal line. It was that fake field goal that actually set up the touchdown.
All right, ready for the second half kickoff.
Rhino, Green, and
Dave Cutler, the ball teed up at the 45-yard line. Here it is. The second half of the Grey Cup game is underway. David Green still fighting across the 40-yard line. Good drive and momentum by Green in second effort. He reaches the 42 on a 22-yard return. Brian Fryer made the tackle for the Eskimos. And in the first half, this is the way they compare. The Eskimos, 139 yards total offense on the arm of Tom Wilkinson. The Alouettes, with mainly a passing game, they have not been able to establish their running game this afternoon so far. Joe Barnes is back, as you see, at quarterback for Montreal. David Green for a couple near the 44-yard line. There's no question, Russ, the Eskimos are watching Green very carefully today, and they've done a good job of tying him up.
Don, the one thing they've not been able to do with David Green that they did so successfully last week against the Ottawa Football Club is get him wide, and this Edmonton defense is certainly geared to stop him. They're spreading wide with their defensive linemen and saying, if you can come up the middle and beat Dan Kepley, then you can have the yards, and they've been very unsuccessful doing that this afternoon.
Victor Annenson goes wide left as you compare the 3 quarterbacks we've seen today. Barnes out of trouble. And he went for Gaddis. It was knocked away. Gaddis nowhere near the ball, really. Greg Butler, number 28, with the defensive play for the Eskimos, who lead by a score of 14-3. It'll be 3rd down and 8 to go for Montreal.
Well, one of the things that the Edmonton team has been able to do this year is put some pressure on those Montreal quarterbacks, and Barnes has had to scramble around and has been sacked twice so far this afternoon.
Sonny Wade is the Montreal punter. With the wind advantage, he hangs it high, and he hangs it deep. Coming down to Butler inside the Eskimo 20. Runs into his own blocker, Joe Holloman, and then gets taken down around the 26-yard line after a run back of 6 yards by O'Leary and McMahon. A 41-yarder by Sonny Wade. So the Eskimos have done the job defensively on the Alouettes again, as they had so consistently in the first half. Now we'll see if Mr. Wilkinson, who could be playing in his final CFL game, if he decides to retire after it's over, directing them at the 25-yard line. Angelo Santucci for a couple. Santucci, a most effective replacement for Don Warrington, who went out early for the Eskimos. Junior RU, number 77, made the Montreal stop that time.
And one of the big questions will be whether Tom Wilkinson will continue to throw the ball as much as he did in the first half with that 11-point lead. Will he assume that their defense can hold the Alouettes?
Wilkie 11 for 18 in the first half. Santucci has caught 5. This is Jim Germany. Burrow meets him, gets some help, takes him down around the 31-yard line. It's going to be close to a first down, or the 36-yard line.
Well, Don, one of the things that we'll see is Junior Ayu is here, will go down inside by himself, and nobody will block him, and they will just outrun him. Nobody really takes any pressure on him. He throws the block off, a little bit of a block there, faking like a pass, and he's able to come back to the outside. Germany gaining that first down.
First down for the Eskimos.
Germany with 36 yards and 9 rushing attempts now gives the Eskimos a first down between their 41 and their 42. Germany again, met by Junior RU, crossing from right defensive end to limit his gain to about 3 up near the 40-yard line.
Well, Junior Ayu, number 77, passively took the play last time. This time he comes down with real authority and puts the good hit on Germany, trying to come off tackle.
They played a little over 3.5 minutes here in the third quarter. The score unchanged from the first half at 14-3 Edmonton. Second down and 7. Tom Scott out of bounds in the area of the 48-yard line, and Scott should have a first down for the Eskimos. Bruce Taylor, in his second game for the Owls, forced him out.
Well, in isolation, we see Scott coming downfield. They had double coverage on him to the outside, but it was a good throw by Wilkie as he brought Scott back away from the 2 defenders, not allowing them to get between the ball and Scott. And you have to give Wilkie a lot of credit for that particular completion to Tom Scott, who's had 4 of them this afternoon.
Scott lined up left in the slot. McGowan is wide left. Waddell Smith on the right side for first down from the Edmonton 49. Germany hurdles through to the area of the 53. A gain of 4 to 5 on that carry for him. Chuck Zapek, outstanding in the first half, made the tackle right there.
Zapek made the tackle.
The Montreal Alouettes had no injuries in the first half except for one, and that is David Green, who has bruised his ribs, and they were just putting some freezing on those ribs. He will continue playing, but if he gets hit there again, it could hurt the Alouettes, because, of course, without Green, they'd really be in trouble. All right, Don.
Bill Green's first game with his team was against the Eskimos October 1st at the Olympic Stadium in Montreal, won by Edmonton 44-22. Germany again slips the first tackle, then is driven hard at the 53-yard line and does not get very much. It was Carl Cronell, the Owls middle linebacker, with the Montreal tackle that now will force the Eskimos into a punting situation. It is 14-3, the Eskimos over the Alouettes. We are 5 minutes into the third quarter, and Grey Cup 78 will continue after this. And others And the combination of the calm wind and the great kick by Olisic has the Alouettes in a deep hole now as Bob Gaddis goes wide left. Victor Annenson on the right side. Joe Barnes, the quarterback. David Green reaches the 7 for a gain of about 3. Dave Fennell there to make the stop for the Eskimos. It'll be second down and a good 7 to go.
They're working on Eric Upton at the Edmonton bench. His left knee, he twisted his knee, but Jim Adams is working on it, and Upton is anxious to get back in there. He indicated that he will be able to get back in, but they have some taping to do before he can go back in. Okay, Don.
Second down. Draw play to John O'Leary, and O'Leary will come up just short by a yard or so of the first down in the grasp of Dale Potter, the Eskimos' left corner linebacker, number 30.
Don, the deep backs of the Edmonton defense have been doing a fine job of coming up and supporting the run this afternoon. The front four and the linebackers have been playing it well, but without any real speed on the Montreal offensive receiving core other than Gaddis, it allows those deep backs to play up fairly close to the line of scrimmage and come up and make the penetration and help on those running plays.
On third down, a yard and a half to go. The Alouettes' Sonny Wade is coming in with the Montreal punting team to kick to these men standing back at the 50-yard line. Larry Highbaugh and number 28, Greg Butler. Wade out near midfield, the 51-yard line to Butler.
Field goal. Good from 40.
Don, we're getting down to that time where the Montreal offense is going to have to show some authority and do something against this Eskimo defense that played just an inspired game so far this afternoon.
Barnes remains at quarterback. Quick toss out to Bob Gaddis. Gaddis for 5 yards. Has about 9 as he reaches up around the 38, 39-yard line. The only really serious drive the Alouettes could mount in this game was highlighted by the long pass to Bob Gaddis. A 41-yarder. But neither quarterback, Barnes or Wade, who played the second quarter, have been able to mount a consistent offensive attack for Montreal so far.
Well, the only speed that Montreal has in that receiving core of theirs that is starting now is Gaddis. They tried to throw that hitch pass out there, but Tom Towns and Dan Kepley got out there and did a pretty good job.
Second down and 2. David Green has the first down and then some. He slipped, and Kepley made sure he stayed down at the Montreal 50-yard line after a gain of 7. 5 minutes and 20 seconds left in quarter 3 now. Dan Kepley, that key middle linebacker, the outstanding all-star veteran for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Peter Delariva, who hasn't caught a pass this afternoon, does a good job on number 30, Dale Potter, in tying him up. Not really blocking him, but standing him up, tying him up, allowing the Green to get outside.
David Green again. Bumps off 1, 2, and lost a yard or 2 in that exchange as he was finally contained by number 24, Ed Jones. Este and Fennell both had shots at him. And the Eskimos have an injury problem down there. It is Dave Fennell. Their big defensive right tackle being administered to. That gain by Green was good for about a yard and a half. The ball now between the 51 and the 52 of Montreal. Well, they called the front four of the Eskimos Alberta Crude so long that they wanted to vary it out there. They now call them Bone, which stands for, and here's a member, Brotherhood of Nasty Eskimos. Dave Fennell, president.
Well, from the end zone, Green trying to go off tackle here. Fennell gets involved here, and you can see him with the initial contact, falls down with Ray Watron, number 52, on top of him, and that probably was where the injury took place. But he seemed to come down heavy on his shoulder, but they seem to be working on his leg rather than the upper body, and when you're that big, I don't think you really hurt the upper body too much. But he's getting up now slowly, but it does seem to be a leg problem that he does have.
All right, Don Whitman.
Jim, Germany had some problems earlier in the ball game. Jim, your shoulder seemed to be giving you some problems.
Yes, I received a pretty good shot in the first quarter. Pretty good hitting out there, and I just got a real good shot in the shoulder, which hurt me a little bit, but it's all right now.
Okay, Don.
Bill Stevenson will come in to play for the injured Dave Pinnell. This is second down, about 8. Barnes gets the rush and goes down. The Alouette pass blocking could not hold it up for him. It was Ron Este from defensive end getting to him. It's going to be third down and about 15 to go for Montreal.
Well, you never know where the pressure is going to come from when this Eskimo club gets going, and this time it came from Ron Este, number 55, the right defensive end, but he also got some help from York Henschel, number 69, who brought the pressure up the middle, not allowing Joe Barnes, any movement at all.
Not even sunny period here at the Exhibition Stadium as it's going down behind those clouds in the west. What a beautiful Grey Cup day we have enjoyed, no question of that, for this time of year. Beautiful punt down to Butler at the 20-yard line. Good run back. And then Zapek stops it at the 29-yard line. He brought it back 9 after a 43-yard punt. We have just over 4 minutes, 4:05 left. The only score in Montreal. 17-3 it is. Just under 3 minutes to play in the third quarter as Hank Olisic gets set to punt. A good one. Randy Rhino, 35-yard line. Brings it back about 11 yards at the Montreal 46. Ian Bryans made the containment after the 38-yard punt by Hank Olisic. So again, Montreal gets an offensive opportunity in the area of midfield, their own 46-yard line. Trailing 17-3 to the Edmonton Eskimos.
Don, I was just watching. Joe Barnes was the last person to come off that Alouette bench, and I was wondering if maybe Sonny Wade was going to be coming into the ball game, but it is Joe Barnes still in there at quarterback, and the yards rushing, something of a surprise this afternoon.
The Eskimos have shut down that Montreal running game to all intents and purposes. They'll try John O'Leary right here, and O'Leary has some success. He will likely claim a first down. The ball comes loose, but the whistle had sounded. The tackle made by Pete Alvaretto, and that forced the ball free. O'Leary getting just across midfield. And they will call for a measurement now, and while they do, let's go down to Bill Stevenson.
Gabriel Gregoire is on the bench, as you can see. Gabriel, what's wrong?
Well, sir, just a full hamstring there. Try to relax. My muscles are still tight. I don't know what's the problem. So, c'est la vie, that's all.
Do you think he'll be back?
I don't know. Touch wood 3 times.
Well, let's hope so.
Second down, less than a yard.
It is second down and a foot or so to go for the Alouettes at the Eskimo 54-yard line. Chuck McMahon in the short yardage drive, spearheaded by Joe Barnes. Straight ahead, he should claim the first down right there. Allow this Montreal drive to continue with 1 minute and 50 seconds remaining now in the third quarter. That is just the 5th first down for the Alouettes today. The Eskimos have claimed 15. That is a good indication of the dominance of the Western champions this afternoon.
We mentioned how little Alouettes have been able to run that ball, and it's rather interesting that back in that particular game on October 1st, Montreal only gained 25 yards on the ground in that ball game.
Barnes out to John O'Leary. O'Leary reaches the 47-yard line. He's going to pick up a gain of 6 yards for the Alouettes on that play. There is the leader of the opposition, Joe Clark, with Normie Kwong, one of the very few football players to score 2 touchdowns in a losing cause. In Kwong's case, that came in 1952 when his Edmonton Eskimos lost to, of all people, the Toronto Argonauts, 21-11.
Second and 3.
Second down, about 3 it is. Here's David Green, and he's wrapped up early. The Eskimos deny the Montreal first down.
David Green.
Ron Este led the assault on David Green, and it's going to be third down and about 4 to go for Montreal now.
Dan Kepley.
Well, Ron Este, number 55, the defensive end, just comes into the inside and knocks Green off without allowing him any chance to go downfield. He just splits the block. Number 52, Ray Watson, trying to come out and trap him, and he just ran around him with his good speed and made the tackle and forces the Alouettes into a punting situation at a very key time.
Fewer than 30 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Olenchuk gets it back to Sonny Wade. Good hang time. Larry Highbaugh at the 6-yard line. He can't break out of there.
On that last play of the third quarter, Wilkinson has a bad handoff to Jim Germany. He's reaching for him. There seemed to be a lack of communication as to where he was going to be, and Judges picked it up. And here we go, starting the last quarter.
From the 10-yard line, first down. Barnes for McMahon, overthrew him in the end zone.
Don, I have to wonder how much the goalpost came into play there, because McMahon was open, and if the ball had been thrown a little lower, he might have had an opportunity to catch it. From the end zone, you can see what the quarterback's going to look at as he throws downfield with the goalpost there, and he did throw it up rather high and over McMahon's head and everyone else's.
Second down from the 10. Early in the fourth quarter. 17-3, Edmonton leads. Keeps the ball to the 5. Touchdown, Montreal. The Alouettes. Joe Barnes rolls it in from 10 yards, and it's 17-9 with a point after coming up. And Monsieur Levesque looks much happier.
Well, the key here will be Dave Bond at the right guard. He'll come out on the sprint out, and when he gets outside, he'll take Barnes into the end zone with a block about the 2-yard line. You watch number 50, and you can give him part of the credit for this touchdown as he leads Barnes right into the corner. He's going to get the big block on number 24, Ed Jones, allowing Barnes to get into the end zone for the first Alouette touchdown.
There he is, Joe Barnes. A good look at him. Just 41 seconds into quarter 4. And now Don Sweet will attempt the point after. There it is. The East and the West are a touchdown apart. 17-10 now.
Well, from the end zone, you can play defense. There's a little fake to Green that held number 30, Potter, in there, and this put the pressure on number 24, Ed Jones, because Potter stayed at home looking for Green, possibly to carry that ball, and allowed Bonnet to get around the corner and make the block on Jones about the 2-yard line.
Well, that is something perhaps that Joe Barnes will have to continue doing to loosen up that Eskimo defense, because they've been slotted against both he and Sonny Wade this afternoon. Barnes has played 2 of the 3 quarters as the Eskimos get ready to return the kickoff now. Diane Jones-Konahowski, one of our many stars of the Commonwealth Games, Edmonton. Her husband has been sidelined with injuries, of course, a member of the Eskimo football team. Here's Don Sweet. Butler to the 35-yard line before he was rolled back by Chuck McMahon. The nominees of 1978. Barnes out to John O'Leary. And O'Leary tumbles out of bounds near midfield. The gain is about 5. Dan Kepley and Ed Jones with coverage for the Eskimos. The Eskimos off to a 10-3 first quarter lead and a 14-3 halftime lead out of a field goal by Cutler from 42 yards out in the third quarter. And then early in the fourth, after Jim Germany fumbled to end the third quarter, Joe Barnes rolled in to make it 17-10. That's the way it is right now.
Second and 4.
Second down, about 3.5 to go. Bob Gaddis. Gaddis was caught by Dave Pennell back in this ball game, and it prevents a first down.
Pennell made the tackle.
Don, if that pass had been thrown well to Gaddis, I think he would have got the first down because Highball was playing off Gaddis a fair distance, but he had to go back and reach up for that ball. By the time he got it, the other pursuit from the inside of the Edmonton defense had come out there and made the tackle, and they're probably going to have a look at this and see whether it really is a first down. I think you're right. It looks like it's about a yard short.
You saw Gaddis limping ever so slightly as he made his...
Bill, you're right, and it certainly is changing.
Hank Olesic. Randy Rhino. There he goes again. Rhino hit hard by Kepley. He flew into Kepley around the 41-yard line, and Rhino, a bit slow to get up, is finally on his feet. He brought it back 10 yards. Well, a pause on the action now. Grey Cup 78 will continue right after this. We may know in just over 10 minutes and 20 seconds. From the 41-yard line, Barnes, a motion to Gaddis, thinks twice about it. Este missed him. And here is the play incomplete. It is ruled to Victor Annenson, who hung onto the ball but was not in bounds.
Well, there's a rather fancy outfit in the crowd. Certainly she's got everything, and I think we know who she's cheering for.
No question.
Don, on that last play, they tried to set up a deep pass to Annenson down the sideline, and they faked that hitch pass out to Gaddis that they'd thrown before. We have an injured Alouette player over there.
It may be the Alouette quarterback, Joe Barnes. That is Joe Barnes down near the Alouette bench.
Well, Barnes had already faked out to the left-hand side to Gaddis, and he throws it downfield, and he gets hit after he's thrown that ball by David Boone, and he is really hurting on that sideline. There's quite a crowd around him, and this certainly will mean that Sonny Wade will have to come in and possibly try and pull this game out for the Alouettes with about 9:53 left.
Joe Barnes is getting to his feet. He's all right. It was the air knocked out of him, and he is going to be all right, and I assume, Russ, we'll see him back in the game.
Big charge on Wade. He had to hurry his pass, and O'Leary could not catch up with the ball. Dave Pennell came shooting through to apply the defensive pressure. So it goes to 3rd down and 10 from the 41.
Don, a good defensive play by the Edmonton Eskimos. They brought a couple of linebackers and put the pressure on Sonny Wade. They knew he had not been throwing the ball on the sideline. He's been sitting there for a little while, and therefore when he comes in like that, he can't throw the ball too far downfield. So they took the chance, brought the pressure, and it worked.
Wade, the quarterback, becomes Wade, the punter again. 9:35 remaining in the fourth quarter. 17-10 Edmonton. High but not deep toward the far sideline. It takes an Edmonton bounce. Wade is there and almost got the football. Flags flew, but the punter, Sonny Wade, was the Alouette on top of the receiver, Pete Laverado.
Don, they have to throw the flag no matter who it is, and when the official sees an Alouette player come in there, no matter who it is, the flag will fly. The question is, who's got the ball or who has possession? Is Pete Laverado, who tried to take that punt and was hit by Sonny Wade, came up with it. From the end zone, we see the ball bouncing here now, and Laverado's chasing it, and Sonny Wade comes in right here, and boy, he's playing like a running guard as he knocked Laverado off that ball, and there was quite a scramble for it.
There's Pete Laverado, and now he makes his way across under a full head of steam. Appears to be all right. We have an Alouette being attended to in the same area.
That better not be Sonny Wade.
No. It is Chuck McMahon.
And that entering the zone was the kicker. The first down.
So they indicate that, yes, the intruder within the 5-yard restraining zone was Sonny Wade. That penalty marker has been erased. And the Eskimos have the ball at their own 23-yard line. There's McMahon. Pressure on Tom Wilkinson. He unloads in time. He almost threw it right to Glenn Weir. Weir was stacked up on top of a collection of Eskimo blockers and got one hand on it. I don't know who Wilkie was throwing this one to.
Don, I can't believe that Wilkie would do that. He threw a left-handed pass earlier when he threw that lateral pass to Germany that Zapek picked up and ran in that early in that first drive in the first quarter. That time he threw it into a pileup where he could have given the ball right to the Montreal Alouettes, and he threw it left-handed again.
Well, you mentioned the momentum factor. The Alouettes are coming on, giving him more and more pressure all the time.
Well, here's the left-handed throw. He gets pushed up by Gabriel Gregoire and Judges, and he throws it into the pileup.
He's going long as a flag has been thrown for Waddell Smith, and Vernon Perry makes the interception for Montreal.
And he's got some running room now, too, if they set that wall up.
The 50-yard line, another flag is taken, thrown down as Perry, who's exhausted, steps out of bounds across field. We had the one penalty marker as the pass was thrown, the second after the interception. There is Vernon Perry trying to catch his wind after a 28-yard return.
Well, there's some question about that. Wally Buono was in the area where the flag was thrown down after Perry made the interception.
We got a holding, Edmonton, and a rough play. Now.
He's got a holding on Edmonton and a rough play on Edmonton, he signaled, but I'm not sure whether that's it or not.
Well, the holding would mean that the Alouettes could decline it and claim the interception, certainly, because that happened before the pass was intercepted. Right out of Waddell Smith's hand. You'll see it again.
On isolation, he's going downfield, and Perry is in excellent position covering downfield like that. He's got complete view of the ball and the quarterback. The ball was tipped up in the air. Perry made the interception and had a lot of running room. Edmonton did a good job of recovering and keeping him to the return that he did get. But there are flags all over the field now, so I guess it's going to stand that Montreal will have the ball. The question is, where will they start? And it looks like it could be somewhere around the Eskimo 31-yard line.
Because of the unnecessary roughness call. They declined the holding. That gives them the ball on the interception. Then they add on the unnecessary roughness against the Eskimos. And that will determine where the ball is going to be spotted. And the official is standing down at the 31-yard line of the Edmonton Eskimos. That's where play is going to resume.
Well, one of the things that Wilkie doesn't do, as well as a lot of quarterbacks in the CFL, is throw that ball deep. That time he tried to go for the home run ball, putting all the eggs in one basket. It turned against them, and Montreal now has the just super field position, trailing 7 points with a little over 8.5 minutes remaining.
Annenson wide right. Gaddis on the left side. Sonny Way goes for the end zone. Annenson can't catch up with the ball. Thrown offline, almost out of bounds by Wade. Joe Holloman was there covering him. It's going to be second down from the 31. Now 8 minutes and 15 seconds left. 17-10. The Eskimos lead the Alouettes.
Now, Sonny Wade 2 for 6 this afternoon, trying to go for that home run ball on that first play. Anderson seemed to be in the clear a little bit, but he just got turned around in the end zone and couldn't quite get to the ball that Sonny threw very well where nobody could intercept it.
A big second down play about to unfold right here.
Now, you got to be thinking screen or draw or Peter Dallariva.
It is David Green, and he dropped the ball. It's going to be third down and 10, Montreal from the 31. And the Eskimos have defended well in a tough situation with the high-flying Alouettes getting 2 cracks from the 31-yard line.
Well, good coverage downfield as Wade goes back to throw the ball. He delivered it out to the side to Green, who was just a safety valve. Green, little footsteps coming up there. Greg Butler, number 28, and he didn't hang on to the ball, and now Sweet is going to have to try the field goal from about the 38-yard line.
Jerry DiTilio getting ready to hold for him. It's good. And the Eskimo lead is dwindled to 4 points. It is now Edmonton 17, Montreal 13. 7 minutes and 25 seconds of fourth quarter time left. Grey Cup 78 returns in a moment.
Up to him.
4 minutes and 37 seconds left.
I don't know where he's from.
Got an idea. David Green does get a carry. And he's taken down by Dan Kepley around the 22-23-yard line. We'll keep an eye on that clock for you, down to 4 minutes and 12 seconds of fourth quarter playing time remaining. 17-13 Eskimos.
Peter Dellariva, who hasn't caught the ball this afternoon, does a good job again of standing up Dale Potter, number 30. He's pushing him downfield. Potter doing a pretty good job of keeping lateral with the ball carrier, but losing ground to Dellariva all the time.
Second down, about 7 to go. Sonny Wade for Peter Dellariva. Completion. He goes out of bounds at the Montreal 40-yard line. First down.
Well, we mentioned that Peter Dellariva hasn't caught the ball, and immediately Sonny Wade must have heard us, because he comes downfield here after delivering that block on the previous play, puts a pretty good move on Ed Jones, but the ball was well thrown by Wade for a 17-yard gain.
3 minutes and 30 seconds left now. Draw play, John O'Leary, read well by the Eskimo defenders.
O'Leary carried.
And Kepley was in the middle there to help fill things in, along with Dave Pinnell. And that limits the gain to 3 yards. It'll be second down and 7 from the 43. We have just over 3 minutes remaining. 3 minutes and 5 seconds officially. Edmonton 17, Montreal 13. Grey Cup 78 will continue after this.
La 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 la. La 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 la
There you see the vacant Edmonton dressing room, either to be a scene of jubilation or disappointment in just a few moments now. The Eskimos leading 17-13. We'll be in the dressing rooms for all the post-game information for you. Second down and 7 Montreal. Early movement. The play is whistled down.
Flags are down.
Legal procedure.
We'll let, there it is, Don Barkley tell us, a legal procedure against Montreal. Movement both ways, initiated by the Alouette offense.
There's a legal procedure, number 60, Montreal.
That's Bill Kahl-Winter, the right tackle.
Bill Kahl-Winter, the right tackle, will move early, and he forces. Here we go. But Bill, the ball hasn't been snapped yet.
And the Alouettes are forced back now to a second down 11 situation from their own 38-yard line with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left. Sonny Wade, the Grey Cup veteran, fires it out for Bob Gaddis, and it's knocked away brilliantly by Larry Highbar. Only Highbar's speed enabled him to get there in time to make that play.
Well, Don, the one thing that happened there, that ball hung in the air for some time. If Wade had been able to throw that ball a little crisper, he might have got the ball to Gaddis before Highball recovered to come back. On isolation, Gaddis knows he needs enough yards for the first down, and he's doing a lot of waiting for that ball that seemed to hang up there for some time.
Well, whatever win factor there is, it is in the face of the Alouettes in this fourth quarter. Wade will now... Smith and Gaddis wide left. Annenson right side. Sonny Wade set the throw. Open is Gaddis, and then Highball filled it in along with Butler. Good defensive reaction by the two Eskimo deep defensive backs.
Pass intended for Gaddis. Incomplete.
Well, I lined Bob Gaddis inside and Smith outside. He just ran a straight fly pattern. Highball staying to the outside, moved in, and Greg Butler thought he had an interception, but Highball knocked him off that. But at this time of the ball game, you just go for that ball, make sure it ends up on the ground. But the Alouettes trying to put a little pressure on the inside safety, Greg Butler, by putting Gaddis inside and Smith outside.
2nd and 10. Wade for Gaddis. He's got it. No, he dropped the ball. Gaddis had the ball in his hands and let it slip through as he lost his balance near the sideline.
Wade's pass intended for Gaddis.
3rd down and 10. A big drop ball right there.
Well, the same formation with Gaddis on the inside, and he was wide open. He just couldn't hang on to that ball, and now we have the big situation for Coach Scannella on the sideline deciding whether to punt or whether to go on the 3rd down situation with 1.5 minutes left in this fourth quarter.
He's going to send his punting team in, and there is the time remaining, 1.5 minutes. 17-13 Eskimos.
Now, Don, this is when the coaches get paid their money, because there'll be a lot of second guessing no matter what happens as to whether he should have gone for it with 1.30 minutes left. Sonny Wade, the punter, of course, quite capable of throwing off this formation if that's what Scannella has in mind. And here it is. The gamble has not paid off. I'm in position to try and tie this ball game up. They will begin from the 35-yard line with 51 seconds left. Wide open is David Green again. He dropped the football. Green having a tough afternoon. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Well, that's two that David Green, number 26, has not been able to hang on to as he's been the release man out on that left side. And with 47 seconds to go, it's up to the Edmonton Eskimo front four to put some pressure on Sonny Wade and make him throw that ball in a hurry. Well, we've got somebody out on the field. The officials, the police will be coming out to escort away way down to the Eskimo end. And they'll delay play just until as long as it takes to get the man out of there. Being hustled off in record time out of the end zone. Tom Wilkinson, who may or may not be appearing in his final Grey Cup and CFL game today. He'll decide on the offseason. 2nd down. Wade gets it out to John O'Leary. And O'Leary gets the first down and steps out of bounds. Stops the clock at the 47-yard line. 39 seconds left. Well, the Football Reporters of Canada have named the top offensive player of this game, Tom Wilkinson, the top defensive player, Dave Fennell, and the Dick Suderman Award for the top Canadian, Angelo Santucci, a sweep by the Edmonton Eskimos.
386.
Unless somebody comes up to be a hero here, those will certainly be fine selections. Here's Bob Gaddis. He's got a great catch at the Eskimo 35-yard line. 32 seconds remaining. Ed Jones hit him and stuck with him. The Alouettes are not quite dead yet. What a finish to the 1978 Grey Cup game.
Well, this is what happens when you play prevent defense. Right now, Sonny Wade has to get this clock stopped with a completion to the outside or an incompletion.
Fires it out.
To get out of bounds.
David Green heading for the sidelines and does get out of bounds. The clock stops at 24 seconds in the area of the Edmonton 27-yard line. Well, I'm sure football fans, supporters of both these teams have their hearts in their mouths right now. As Don Barker indicates, second down and about 1.5 yards from the Eskimo 27-yard line. Edmonton 20, Montreal 13. The clock will start at the snap of the ball, 24 seconds left. Here's Sonny Wade firing into the end zone. It is too far for Victor Annenson. Joe Holloman sticking with him step for step. 18 seconds left now. And third down coming up for Montreal.
Well, the choice of plays becomes important now. Is Sonny Wade happy enough to get the first down here, throw the ball on a quick out? I thought maybe he might have done that on that particular play. Make sure of the first down, then you've got the 3 plays to go to the end zone with. But he chose to go to the end zone with that one, and now he has to keep and make the completion this time.
"18 seconds left to the 1978 Grey Cup regulation time. Wade bails it out. It's a loose ball. They will not get the first down. It was picked up finally by Ray Watrin. He tried to throw it to Bill Kahl-Winter, but did not get enough yardage for the first down, and that appears to be it. 6 seconds on the clock, and the Alouettes have been stalled. Wade couldn't find a receiver. Under strong pressure and in desperation, tried to let his lineman get the 1.5 yards they had to have to keep it going.
Well, Don, he pitched that ball out to number 60, Bill Kahl-Winter. The pressure came initially from Boone, number 64, forcing him up in the pocket. And then Fennell was there. He's the outstanding player. And if Kahl-Winter had caught that little pitch from Sonny Wade, I'm sure he'd been able to run for the first down. But you can't blame him, because as an offensive tackle, do you really expect to have to make the big play for the first down?
He wasn't looking for it. No question of that. 6 seconds left. Wilkie undoubtedly will ground the ball. Down he goes. That takes it down to 4. And it appears as though the Grey Cup champion Montreal Alouettes are about to be dethroned here by the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, Tom Wilkinson completed 15 of 25 for 111 yards. Not a lot of yardage and not a great deal in the second half. It was the first half where the Edmonton Eskimos won this ballgame.
Time has run out. The crowd now standing and cheering the Eskimos.